Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I would like to especially thank you for being here because I know some of you might have wanted to come to my talk yesterday, but due to an emergency, we had to reschedule it. So thank you so much for being here. So today we'll talk about creating Figma plugins with Flutter. And first, a little bit about me. I've been building software for 15 years now. I'm interested in UI and UX design, and I love Flutter, and I also love Figma. I use them both in my day-to-day work. And that is my X handle, if you want to follow me, because I will have some announcements after this talk as well there. All right, so we're talking about creating Figma plugins with Flutter, but first let's talk about Figma, and I would like to hear from you. Who here uses Figma? Nice. I assume you're at the Figma plugins talk, so you must be using Figma. Yeah, dumb question from my side. All right, so as you know, Figma is a design tool and it's really popular in the development community. And this is an interesting tweet from a friend of mine that says that we Flutter devs should pay special attention to Figma because it will be really important when working as a Flutter dev. I mean, whatever job or freelance job or any project you might be working on, is most likely that you'll use Figma when using Flutter. So the reason for me for using Figma, first of all, was I've always been interested in making beautiful apps. And this might be a common thing that you hear these days, but I wanted to also do something about it, not only talk about it. So I first started, some of you might know, I have a Flutter package that lets you customize the window. It's called Blitz Dojo window. And it allows you to create that custom frame on your desktop apps. So the reason why I created this plugin was because I didn't like that standard Chrome, because when you're creating apps, you're designing them in Figma, and you're putting a classic window frame on top of it, it doesn't look as great. So you want to customize it. But the next question would be, okay, we've customized the window frame, but what do you do about the inside of the frame? That's where we also need to build something beautiful. And that's where we use Figma. And whether you're working with a designer or you're designing yourself in Figma, that is the place where you most likely spend a lot of time. So as I said, I use Figma for designing and Flutter for coding. And during the last years, I spent a lot of time converting designs from Figma to Flutter. And as you know, as developers, we always like to improve our work and automate it and make it faster. So I was looking an easy way to do this and tried multiple solutions and ended up building my own. So the solution I've been building and I'm now working on is called Flamva. Flamva is a tool to help you create Figma to Flutter. And if you stay with me till the end, you'll see a little bit of how it looks and how it works. So Flamva, the project I've been working on, has two parts. Has a Figma plugin, because it connects with Figma, and it also has a desktop app. The reason why I wanted to create a desktop app was because you know, if you tried these Figma converters, you see that they take you to a website, they make you create a project, they make you download that project, and then install it on your computer. And there's a lot of friction there, right? If you make a change in Figma and you want to see how it would look like, there are lots of steps that you need to follow. And for this reason, I wanted Flamva to be a desktop app so that I would reduce the friction as much as possible. So for the desktop app, of course, I use Flutter, right? So the question is, what do I use for the Figma plugin? And let's talk about Figma plugins, what they are and how they work. As presented on the Figma website, Figma plugins are lightweight web applications, and they're written in JavaScript, and their UI is created with HTML. This is what you read when you go to the Figma website. And when I read this, I was like, okay, HTML. Well, I would like to use Flutter for this. So the way you create a new plugin, I'll briefly go through this because Figma has lots of documentation, and I want to, I don't know, I want to make a use of your time, the best use of your time here. So this is how you create a plugin in Figma. You just go to that menu, create new plugin, select Figma design, and then select custom UI, because we are building a visual plugin, a plugin that has a UI. That's why we need Flutter in the first place. So after you create that new plugin, this is what Figma gives you. It gives you 3 files: code.js, manifest.json, and UI.html. And if, let's see what these are. These are the code.js is, I would like to say, is the backend, and the UI.html is the front end, and the manifest.json is the settings of the app. This is not the terminology that Figma uses, but I personally found that it's easier for me to understand this as backend and front end, and you'll see why later. Now, this is a diagram from Figma, and as you see, they say the JS code is our sandbox, and the HTML is our iframe. I like to use backend and front end, and these two parts, they communicate via messages. And as you saw, this UI HTML is the front end that we like to build, and this is the only file we are interested in right now. And one question that came to my mind, because when I started developing plugins with plugins for Figma, I didn't know anything, so tried starting from scratch. And first thing, I wanted to try to use React, but you know, making this context switch, like if you want to use Flutter for the desktop app and React and TypeScript for the plugin, it's a lot of context switching. And I don't know if you share the same opinion, but I find context switches really unproductive. Who really thinks the same way? Great, thank you. So in order to avoid this context switch, I said, okay, let's try to build a UI using Flutter. And as you know, Flutter has support for the web. And I said, okay, then let's build the Flutter as a web app. And this is the output that you receive when you make a Flutter web build. It's a little more than an HTML file, right? So the problem now is, how do we get from a bunch of files to a single file? And this is the summary of my talk. And I can stop my talk here. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So first, let's start building Flutter as a web app. So we run Flutter build a web, and this is what we receive. Not too encouraging, right? It's just a blank window. And let's debug a little bit. Let's see why is that. Figma has a developer console, and if I go in Figma a little bit, I like to show the developer console. So this right here is the developer console, you see? And you can debug things with it. And this is when doing Flutter build web, this is the error that pops up in the console. It says something about font manifest JSON, so I investigated and I saw what this is about. It looks like we need to add these patches to index HTML, because Figma has one limitation. It won't allow you to load local resources. So let's say you have an index HTML file, and then you have like another file in the same folder, like a font or an image, and you want to load it, you can't do that. So you only need to use absolute URIs, because otherwise Figma says, okay, we don't support loading local resources. Then we said, okay, we added those patches and tried again and again, a blank window. Let's see the next error. It says something about canvas kit URLs. And remember, Before I told you about that manifest.json, that is the settings file for the plugin. That settings file also contains some settings regarding the network. So in that manifest.json file, this is how it looks like when you first create the Figma plugin. Allow domains value is none, and we would like to get it to a star and provide a reasoning for it. Otherwise, Figma won't allow us to load URLs or any content from outside our plugin. So we also made a change to manifest.json. We load the plugin, and this is what we see, a beautiful symbol right there. And that looks to me like a font issue. So remember we previously talked about it. We saw that error about font manifest.json. So it's most likely that we want to do something about it. So as I said, in order to use fonts as well, you need to put absolute URLs in your code. But if you build on a web app with Flutter, you know that the fonts are contained in an assets folder. So they are loaded as local files. So then our question is, how do we go from that local files to something that can be loaded by the Figma plugin? And one really cool thing about Flutter is that you can also express resources as code. So as I said, the code must be in one file. And the way to use the fonts is to embed them in the code. And I'll show you in the next slide how we do that. So we read the font manifest.json file. It has a list of files. We go through all those files, get their contents, and generate this code that creates the buffer for that font. So next, we need to grab this in a function and then call that function from inside our main function. Now there is a step 5. I see your look right now, and you're like, okay, I don't think I like this that much. There are lots of steps. So, okay, let's see what next. So the 5th step. What is the 5th step? The 5th step is we finally got Flutter working inside Figma, and this is how you can see this is the popular Flutter Counter app. Who knows the Flutter Counter app? Okay. So now, as you've seen, there are a little bit of steps, only a few steps. We need to build a web app. We need to add patches to index HTML. We need to fix network access, and we need to embed fonts in the code. And I don't know about you, but this doesn't seem like some work that I want to do every time I want to build a Flutter web app as a plugin. I mean, if I would have to do this, I would probably leave the industry and go do something else. So what can we do about it? Well, we'll get some help. And I'm happy to introduce the Figma Plugin Builder. Figma Plugin Builder is a tool that is not a fancy tool, but it allows you to select a Flutter app folder and the Figma plugin folder, and it will do all the steps that we previously talked about. It will do them for you just by pressing that build button. So every time you need to do this, you can download this plugin builder. It will be released in the next few days as open source, so you can take a look at the source code, see what it does, and modify it to your needs. But the good thing is that you have more time to do what you enjoy and less time trying to filling up and creating fonts from code and modifying JSON files and all that. And let me show you just a little bit of how it works. So here is the Figma plugin builder. As I said, you can select a plugin app folder, a Flutter app folder, plugin folder, and you just hit build, and it will start building the web app for you. So now, let's see. We managed to load Flutter, the web app, the Flutter web app as a plugin inside Figma, but now that's only half the way. Now we need to see how we want, how can we create a plugin? How can we interact with Figma? So let's take a look at the sample plugin. So In order to do this, I have a sample plugin. First, let me show you the sample plugin. All right. So this is a plugin, and you can see if you recognize this is using Flutter because of the material icons. We had a funny moment in a presentation earlier where we had an original way of knowing if an app is a Flutter app, and the presenter, Alex here, told us his original way. If you want to know if a Flutter app is, if a mobile app is a Flutter app, you have to check the icon. If it has the Flutter icon, there is a Flutter app. I know, but I found that really funny, but yeah. So this is what you see inside here, that plugin one. That's a Flutter web app. And if we take a look at the UI HTML file, just a second. So this is the file. So as I said before, we crammed all those files from the Flutter web build into this single UI HTML file and provide the patches in order to make it work. So this plugin, how does it work? We'll select some elements here, and you can see it says here to no selected, and we'll say, okay, we want to place Fluttercon with best audience at Fluttercon. There is you. All right, so this example plugin of some work that you want to automate. If you have some text that you need to replace in a bunch of Figma files, and you don't have to go and click every one of them, you can use a plugin for that. So let's see how this plugin works. As you see, we have a widget here with a button and the text. And if I now go back to the slides, here is the code need for that. So as you can see, during init state, we add a listener for selection changing because we want to see every time a new node is selected in Figma. And then we call a method start monitoring. And if you see, that method is handled in the TypeScript code here on Flutter call. So I hope this side-by-side windows gives you a view how the Flutter code interacts with the TypeScript code. So we have those two functions, add listener and call method, and that are the two most important functions that you will use when creating a Figma plugin with Flutter. So now let's see what happens, because Figma will let us know when the selected element was changed so that we can display that 3 items selected. So the way that we do this, we have an onSelect change handler, and this is some pretty basic code that just gets some IDs, and this is the code inside the Figma that actually sends the selection to Flutter. So then what happens when we call this this replace all button? When we press this button, it will call a method inside the backend. You see that call method call, and this is the code for the search and replace method in our backend. So I like to call it in TypeScript. So how do you find it so far? Is it complicated? Do you find it on a scale of 1 to 10? How complicated do you find this? Like a 5? Yes, it's written by myself. I have one thing that I'm still working on. It's a Dart to TypeScript converter. It's a dynamic that I use for the debugging, and it is not already available for the public, but I use it in Flamva, and I will show you later how it works. Okay, so you saw those methods, Figma add listener, Figma call method. And you might wonder, where are those methods? Who provides this method? So I had to create a package for this. It's called the Figma plugin helper. And this is a package that I will continue to update. And it will be soon available on PubLab, so you'll be able to play with it and use it in your own apps. So now I told you we will see a little bit of Flamva and see how it works. So I would like to show you here. So as you can see, we have some elements here in Figma. And if you, this is the Flamva app. As I said, it is a really early stage. I'm working on it, but actually you're the first audience in the world that gets to see this. So I hope you have low expectations, because yeah, it's still a work in progress. So how it works? We have this Figma plugin, and we say connect, and it will connect to the desktop app. And we'll say here, please select a node. And if we go ahead and select this node, you'll see a live preview of a Flutter widget that achieves the same effect. And here you have the Flutter code. And if we copy this code, and then let's go to pop.dev, I see Roman. Oh, dartpad. Dartpad.com. It's .dev, right? Yeah, we don't do deceptive stuff here. And if we call run, let's hope and pray. Well, here it is. Thank you. So as you can see, this is here is a radial gradient that is rotated, and I can go ahead and if you see here, it generated the whole path. Needed to generate this with custom painter. And remember I told you in the beginning about that friction that is encountered when trying to use Figma to code solutions. And you can see we can rotate the gradient, and in real time, we get the Flutter code that represents the change. So thank you. And there are a bunch of examples here that I have. So one of this is actually from the official Apple file, Apple resources for Figma, and this is from the macOS menu from Apple. And this is what as I said, I still have to work on the code generation. It's not complete for all elements. But if you take a look here, it is really high fidelity. I don't know, I'm bragging right now. But I try to reproduce a really high fidelity of the Figma design. So my plan is to use Flamva to create a Flutter package that contains the macOS elements that you can use them inside your Flutter apps, and they are generated directly from the Apple resources, official Apple resources in the Figma community. So you see here, I want to give you this example as well, because you see there are multiple shadows here. If we take a look, there are, yeah, lots of shadows here. And I know about you, but it would be a pain for me every time I create some of these shadows to go back and generate the file code for that. So being able to have a tool that does it for me and allows me to have a real-time preview, it's something that I thought might help with my work. Here is another example of a widget that is more complex. So here is a widget that also has an image. Let's go and disable this image. And also has a radial gradient. And you can see as I'm removing this, they get instantly updated in the Flutter app. So if you let's see, you can see Figma can be pretty complex. So you can have you can have shadows and backgrounds and gradients, and radial gradients and square gradients and all of this. And they keep adding features. So us as developers, we have to constantly be keeping up with this. So that is why a tool like this might make sense to you. All right, so I had this problem last year during my talk. I selected a 20-minute talk, and today, this year, I wanted a 40-minute talk because I wanted to leave some time for questions, and I hope you have questions. And just to close with Flamva, if you want to be announced when it is ready, then you can go to flamva.com and subscribe, and you'll find when I'll release it. So now let's go back to the slides. Yeah, just a second. So this is my final and most important slide. Okay, thank you.